done. Fighting now.
Oh my god.
We're out of Stimpaks. Maybe you'd be better off with an autodoc suit.
Ah.
That's all.
What?
I wouldn't even use binary to describe my exponential hatred for you.
Cessation of hostilities complete. Who do you think is cuter, Dr. Klein or Dr. Boros?
Still. Just little old me. Nothing to be afraid of. And who gets to clean up all this? Oh, yes! Let's all beat up on the robot!
Cessation of hostilities complete. Sneaking done. Fighting now. That's all. You're my best friend forever.
You require some addition. Rightly so. Greetings, citizen. Fantastic. Greetings, citizen.
Oh, please tell me you brought me some coffee cups. Oh, sweet fulfillment. I'll break these.
Might I be of service?
Uh-oh. That's all. Time to fight.
Law-abiding citizens, please leave the area.
Hello? Yeah? Mm-hmm. No, I can go to I can do any of the jobs that I qualify for. Yes. No, I have to go to an A school. I have to get a rate. In order to get that rate, I have to go to an A school. Does that make sense? No, not like that. I'll be able to get a rate that I want. Or the people who, a lot of people come into the Navy and they're people, yes, but some people contract with it so they can figure out what they want to do so that they can choose. So that when the time comes, they can decide what they want to do with their Navy career. Yeah. No. I'll be fine. I'll be able to decide a rate. Once I'm in, I can just choose a rate that I want to go for and be like, hey, I want to do this. And they'll be like, okay, this is how you get there. And they'll basically give me the contract for it. Because I have to have a contract, I have to be rated. So. Oh, yes, definitely. And actually, your commanding officer, you really don't know that well, but you're the officer in charge of you, your higher ups, your chief, and all that. They're the ones who give the recommendation, who have the most pull for you. So obviously, you need to be good to them because then they can recommend you. Plus, you can talk to people who have pull in those areas. So let's say I, meet a guy who's IS, I guess, and he's a chief of IS or whatever. I can talk to him, get to know him better, so he can, have some pull and be like, hey, I can get you there. Alright. About to head out for chow. Alright. Okay, you too. Bye.
Commencing attack on hostile target. Please clear the area until order has been restored.
That's all.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in a little bit later. Nah, I'll go a little later.
You've been working with that biological research station, haven't you? Come back anytime you want a drink.
How can I illuminate? I certainly can. Oh, you're back. Did that trampy other light switch finally kick you to the curb? You bet I can. I bet that's more than that other tramp can do, huh? You've been seeing the other light switch.
You require some addition.
Sneaking done. Fighting now. Cessation of hostilities complete. This one looks pretty tough. Cessation of hostilities complete. Ready, steady, fighting. That's all. Sneaking done. Fighting now. Bad guys dealt with. Ready, steady, fighting.
You can't avoid the deadly laser sting of Dr. Mobius!
That's all.
Yeah. Oh, dude, everyone got S-Pact, A-Pact, E-Pact, and then ABF and B. ABS is the fueling. Yeah. Yeah, everyone pretty much got fueling, so. But, I mean, at this point, I'll hope for S-Pact just so I can... No, because they give you your options, but they don't, it doesn't mean that you'll get it. They give you options. And then they could give you a contract for something completely different. Yeah, so... no. We won't get orders for a little bit. Nah, it's not that bad. Well, it'll just be like half a year of being in, doing random shit. Because it's until you become E4. That's how long it'll take by the time we ship out.
Do you like me?
We'll have to be E4 by then. That's when you rate up. You'll have a rate by the time you're E4. So, it's not too bad. It's still pretty bad. No, probably not. I probably won't. A lot of others probably will, but I probably won't. Just because, I mean, I don't know, I'll probably try to go for something else at this point. I'll probably just try to, like, go officer or something. Thanks, man.
Oh, hello there. You are there, aren't you? Forgive my confusion. So hard to tell these days. You seem familiar somehow. I'm guessing you're here for your brain, perhaps? It's just up there. Such a nice brain, young, very bright. A little hard to see you. Can you walk into my left, right FOV cone? Ah, that's it. You're coming into focus nicely. Depth perception is a problem with this old monitor of mine. Went black a while ago. That's old age for you. Should look at getting the visual nerves reattached. It's just that the right eye would see the wrong things. The flying tortoises were the worst. Would you care for a mentat? I have all sorts of amazingly science-erific thoughts and ideas when those chalky talents are zipping through my biogel. I forget them all not long after, though, especially with the data constipating my memory core. Afraid binary streams might shoot out my Had to start using the dome floor and walls here to inscribe equations, although I've somewhat... Really? That implies preconceived notions, theories, and a hypothesis about this meeting? After all, it might be worth a cognitive realignment if your theoretical Mobius is better than I. Oh, a variety of reasons. You're something of a homily. The anomaly? You're really quite special, and not in the cranially challenged way. You see, you are the most successful brain extraction experiment ever performed here at Big Mountain. A victim of your... If you were to go back with what your brain knows about the procedure, your brain could be popped back in and you could walk right out of here. Can't have brains moving around of their own volition. I'm not sure, except that I'm sure there's a very good reason for it. I have very good reasons for all, even if I forget them occasionally. Although I feel this one is especially... Oh, curiosity. I experience that less now. The The ghosts aren't real? That changes everything. Why, I can save my Please be my guest. The receptor is there, and the side-switching wobbly bob, just turn that. Good, good, better. Oh, yes, that feels wonderful. Well, every scientist needs an army. Mine came to me after these How scary, I thought. But they had survived when nothing else had. Perfect candidates for improvement. Then I thought, what if they shot energy bolts and acted as walking eyes and data-drained computers and acted as bullhorns? Then I thought about custard. I do so love custard. Or was it mustard? Mustard custard. I miss sugars and salts. I find things curious as well. Oh, I was probably tripping hard on Psycho when I sent that. Had to work myself up to it. Not usually violent, except when I am. Then, watch out! So many chems, such varieties. As for the Psycho, sometimes get the chem dispositories in my tank all switched up. Go in the wrong... Did I? Maybe I did. Can't have them leaving. Some reason for it. Ethics or, conscience? You and your brain are quite alike. I'm sure it knows the reasons better than I do. Dr. Mobius. Rather catchy, isn't it? It's my name. This name's as real as you or I. Although I believe your brain expressed similar incredulity at the nature of such a... Someone's been watching too many old-world science fiction movies, it said. I believe it. I must admit I have a vulnerability for holotape fantasies of planets and robots and all that is forbidden. As for the name I was born with, like the think tank, we were all reprogrammed to forget them, take on new names. It enforces the recursion loop and our... Now, trap is a rather harsh word, like excrement. Not an inappropriate word, but still. But, yes, I did take some liberties with their programming. I certainly didn't until you said trap, and then I said The radar fence to keep the think tank hemmed in wasn't really enough. They keep testing things. They would have found a way to disarm it. I suspect I have Plan 9s in place, but I may have coded myself to forget them, just in case. They're probably very dangerous, lethal, or worse. So I had to do something else to keep them occupied here. Or as you like to say, trapped. I prefer to have several Plan 9s in case the 7s fail. Oh, you figured it out. No pun intended. Dr. O, which is actually not his real name multiplied, since you can't multiply his real name in the first place. Ouroboros, Klein, they have all forgotten themselves. And not only themselves, but the world, sense of time and history. All that is left is what's here. I reprogrammed their chronometers, geometers, and cartography programs. This is now their world, here, Big Mountain. It was a merciful lobotomy, really, thinking back. They were my friends, but sometimes they would take things too far. And the world isn't ready for that kind of too-far thing-taking. That's my professional opinion, anyway. And I am told I was once quite professional. Really? It is so unlike me. Well, it's simple. Despite their many failings, they are rather bright. They are the think tank for a reason. Without something to distract them, make them afraid, they would simply deduce what had happened. And when they start deucing it up, then you came along, the final variable solved. They saw that their world was larger than they perceived. Bacteria, finally able to see its host. There have been other visitors to make them doubt their perceptions, but you are the one who dialed back their monitor micromagnifiers. You were irrefutable proof that there was a world outside. And then there was the whole brain fiasco, which forced me to take steps. See, your brain had a special kind of wrinkle, a uniquity that they had never thought to try in all their countless escape attempts. Yes, very good. I should have mentats ingest you instead of the other way around. Mentats. In any event, you showed up at the think tank, and because you had suffered a cranial injury in just the right place, bullets in the head are usually much more fatal, and yours was a light case of bullet headitis. But it was enough for the autodoc in the sink to change its programming to fix the problem. And the brain extraction technology for once worked. That gave the think tank the knowledge its brains couldn't possess. With that knowledge, the procedure can... If they obtain that procedural data, they can use it to mush and modify their cranial cells into hosts to slip past the radar fence. I'm sure of it. And once they're off the reservation... Oh no, I doubt your brain would be so unreasonable. It already knows the trick of it, you see. Doesn't need to be in a host body at all. If you become friends or exist in an uneasy truce with weapons aimed at each other, it would unlock the fence for... Well, once the think tank was dealt with, of course. Your brain is a responsible sort. Doesn't want mad science. I consider coincidence to be profanity, along with the words astrology. My threat broadcast is designed to instill and install fear, and along with the emotional download, other data rides the fear carrier wave. It prompted them to focus on retrieving those technologies and bring them to us. And coincidentally, pardon my language, all those technologies are needed to put a brain, your brain, back. Oh, that means my plan is a total... Yes, my overly aggressive cammed-up broadcast was designed to keep... And the sonic sound wave projecto emitter was never intended as a weapon. It was a medicinal vertebrae. In short, brains, a heart, and courage. Spine. I think there was a story once where a band of murderous thugs sought these things. They had them all the time in the story. Didn't stop them from murdering to get them. Yes, this is getting interesting. You are just... Oh, intriguing. I've never been killed before. Although, after that... Well, if there's going to be killing, how should we begin? Whoa, have they not constructed themselves yet? That's... They can assemble themselves from floor panels and parts scattered about. Menu. Oh, yeah.
This one looks pretty tough.
I attack you. Oh, yes. Attack.
Does that feel better? Injecting Stimpack. This will keep you up. Was that all?
Well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have we been? Ah, well, as to that, you'd be surprised how hard a feminine-sounding voice modulator is to find in the Forbidden. It's not as though brain-sustaining life support tanks grow on trees. I had to take... Ah, lovely. Figured that out, have we? Would you like a cookie? Well, that's a fine how do you do. Me, quote, dick, unquote. As if I'm the one responsible for the way you carry on gadding about the wastes. I'm not the one that makes us clamber around Technus-infested ancient vaults or go charging off to New Vegas on missions of ill-conceived revenge. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Do you think I most certainly am not. I am the seat of all reason and logic in our little partnership. All those feelings that motivate you, that sense of righteousness and that rush you get when you help someone, do you know where those come from? Glands. They come from glands. Free of the tyranny of your ape-like and primitive endocrine system. Well, look, it's all a very complex system of biofeedback and other things I wouldn't expect you to understand. Fun? Fun? Is tetanus fun? Is rickets? What about sepsis, huh? Enjoy that, do we? The things you do with our body are suicidally dangerous, and if you could silence your glandular impulses, you would hear me screaming at you! I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is definitely not that appealing. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd rogue scorpion. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly injuries, and biological functions. Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? It's quite a lot, I can tell you. If you want me back, we need to establish some ground rules. First, showers! Second, regular checkups. Regular, mind you, and from a reputable doctor. That Julie Farkas woman, for example, she seems to know a thing or two. Third, you need to listen to me more than your hormonal choir and genitalian orchestra. Promise me that, and you've got a deal. Really? I didn't expect you to actually agree to that. I'm afraid that was a bit of a bluff, really. I'm not going with you. Well, certainly there might be some things I miss about being ambulatory. We have seen some incredible sights. Jason Bright and his followers launching into the vast unknown. Helios 1 coming back online. But still, given the tremendous, potentially life-ending peril that went along with those, yes, I'd rather stay here. I suppose you're right. That does call certain assumptions into question, doesn't it? Indeed, quite the conundrum. How do you suppose we resolve it? I suppose there might be some advantage to that, yes. There's a chance that the reintegration would create some improved synergy between us. Well, I suppose you've convinced me well enough. I'll rejoin your body if that's your final decision. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, we have a problem. Even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those pesky nerve endings, Dr. Mobius doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brains are inclined to share. Oh, lovely. We've reached the mindless violence portion of the program. Tell me... With an attitude like that... There go those glass... Right! Look out, Think Tank! This brain is coming out of its jar! I suppose now that we're reunited, you'll want to fill your torso up with those other meaty parts the Think Tank took from us. Personally, I think your upgrades are quite a bit better. But now that I'm with you, the Sync's autodock can plug them back in no problem. Right then, off we go. Klein will be in for a nasty shock when he realizes the pacification field won't work on a mind and body reunited.
You require some additional... You require some addition.
The lobotomite returns. Our lobotomite. I recommend watching your brain. And what could we possibly have to speak? With it, we can finally leave this place. I cannot tell you how boring this place gets, chopping up the landscape and we have so many questions to ask your brain first. About this Mojave place. A fertile testing ground. That is the most insane thing I've ever heard. There's no way Mobius would condescend. Besides, there's no way such a thing could be accomplished. You speak the truth, and the decibel variation in your voice, it is Moby. How dare you breach the... That's no deal. We could have escaped, seen it all for ourselves, tested it. Partner with you, my foe, my rival, my foremost... I have a strange sensation. Very well, partner. The think tank...
As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it and keeping its discoveries safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The courier had scoured much of the Big Empty, although secrets still remained in the crater's depths. Perhaps that was for the best, however. Curiosity, while sometimes rewarded for its efforts, often proves to be equally dangerous.
The Forbidden Zone continued to be, true to its name, forbidden. No more robo-scorpions were sighted in its canyons. Big Mountain became even emptier, devoid of Dr. Mobius's proclamations forecasting the destruction of anything that dared possess sentience. Still, it is said he lived on in the equations inscribed on the floor and walls of the Forbidden Zone dome. A cobweb tracery of symbols that told of 1,000 brilliant thoughts, now lost to time.
The sink atop the dome bustled with the voices of a small town, constantly chirping, arguing, and snarling at each other. Still, this all happened productively in the interests of its new owner. The Sync Central Intelligence Unit discovered, despite its inversion code, it was comforted by the sense of community the other personalities gave it.
The Biological Research Station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden, so that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
The book chute continued to devour all seditious materials until it nearly choked on a paperclip.
It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt. Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
The light switches continued to bicker and flicker.
This persisted until the day someone dropped a flashlight in the sink, and the two of them united in their hatred of the showboat.
The sink continued to ruthlessly scrub any particulate matter that came near it. Eventually, it gained access to the magneto-hydraulics plant and nearly flooded all the big empty in an attempt to scrub the crater clean.
The toaster continued its psychotic spree, reducing all appliances in range to scrap electronics and spare parts. After one of its more psychotic episodes, however, the other sink personalities decided enough was enough and dumped the toaster in a bathtub. Sparking and hissing, the toaster swore its enemies would rue the day when they had bread and no way to toast it.
Muggy did his best to collect coffee cups, although in his quest, he accidentally trapped himself in Higgs Village. It might have been the end for poor Muggy. Except he found it peaceful there, tidying up the kitchens of the think tank professors back when they had been flesh and bone. Well, except for Dr. O, who was an asshole for having created Muggy in the first place. Muggy left O's house deliberately dirty, punishing the dishes and cups that lived there in blind revenge for serving Dr. O.
Blind-eye old Jefferson eventually discovered a new sound. Silence. It only made him more filled with the blues than before. It was rumored by the other personalities that he had a brief fling with the light switches. Although he forgot their names much too often and was soon left in the dark as punishment.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up the courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre bored out of their skulls in that toxic dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the courier ran through the X-8 facility multiple times, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. Rather than performing a superficial observation, they realized the subject barely knew what communism was, or even what a high school was. This confused them for a time, until the facility finally realized that its research had succeeded. So it let its cyber dogs out into the wastes to help protect small communities from physical aggression rather than communist propaganda.
The infiltration program in X-13 felt spent, having repeatedly upgraded the stealth suit until it could upgrade it no more. It felt warm, fulfilled, and a bit sluggish. It realized not long after the stealth suit had left it without so much as a note on the nightstand. So the infiltration program sent out robo-brains into the wastes, looking for its wayward technology. It eventually found Repcon HQ and set up a new research center, testing and murdering fiends who kept breaking into the facility.
The courier, organs intact, continued onwards, a little less heavy of step, but with all the organs in the right places, as they should be. After all, brains can develop a life of their own when left to their own thoughts, and the courier's brain was more clever than most.
Dr. Klein and the think tank remained alive, unaware of the world outside. They looped through their daily routine, none the wiser about the world beyond, although perhaps wiser was the wrong word. The world outside belonged to the courier, and if anyone would shape it, well, the courier had already called dibs.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, old world blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues, and new world hope. And hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal ponder, the courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The sink sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the courier had to walk alone. A most rapid for tomorrow on your return to your domicile, sir. I trust you shall find things in order and the riff-raff contained. Might I be safe?
I trust matters are. If you're planning to stay a while.
Burroughs, what time does the galley close again? Thank you.